Welcome to the Prophecy Club, and I've got Pastor Dan on the phone with me today. We're going to talk more about Bible prophecy in the news. Dan, welcome back to the Prophecy Club.
So good to be back with you, Stan.
All right, what's your first news article?
Okay, this I call Giving Away the Father's Land. President Obama's planned visit to Israel is coming as soon as next month. He's already secured Israeli and Palestinian pledges to restart the so-called land for peace talks, according to Palestinian and Israeli officials. Now, that's the original story coming out, but now this week we're getting it in that the visit isn't really about that, but it's about this. When he visits Israel next month, U.S. President Barack Obama will tell Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that a window of opportunity for a military strike on Iran will open up in June, according to Israeli TV report Monday evening. Obama will come bearing the message. If diplomatic efforts fail, then basically he wants Israel to sit tight, and he will take over and take military action if necessary towards Iran in June. Well, we combine this all with also out there, Senator Chuck Hagel has been confirmed by the U.S. Senate for Secretary of Defense. It was a really hard-fought confirmation due to many controversial statements he made about Israel in the past, such as a report that called for U.S. troops to lead a peacekeeping force that would patrol the future borders between Israel and a Palestinian state. Okay, Stan, what do you think?
I think that we are heading to giving the Palestinians a state. Prophet Leslie was told that this 7 signs to the fall of America, one of them was, in other words, an actual newspaper headline will be, Omer ushers in Palestinian state. We know that's coming. And then, of course, from there, I think that we're going to see the fall of America come pretty shortly after that. So I want to think that we still have several years before the Palestinian state is given. If the events take place in the order of, for example, what she was told April 15, 2002, in the dream called Arafat in the hospital, those 7 points to that prophecy were that Arafat would go into the hospital and die there, and that happened like 2 years later. And then Israel will give the Palestinians a state, but it'll be a temporary measure to allow the Israelis time to strengthen the military. Then oil will be discovered in Israel. The oil will make the Jews willing to fight for the land. Then Israel and America will go against most of the rest of the Arab world, and I believe that's the beginning of World War III. And Israel will emerge World War III. The victor, America, will be defeated in the early days of World War III. And what we believe is going to happen, America is going to force Israel to give the Palestinians a state, and then America is going to say, look, we will be your protector. We will guard your borders. We will see that you are not attacked. And then, of course, one of the other headlines she was told was Catastrophe hits America. We do not know if that is the tsunami, the earthquake, the Great Lakes opening up down to the Gulf of Mexico, splitting America in two, that event, or a series of explosions. Let me remind you that we have 4 different people that is saying a series of explosions is coming to America. Now, I've already made a DVD on this, so if you want more information on it, you can get the DVD. Of course, I would highly recommend that you do that. The first one comes from Kurt Weldon. Kurt Weldon was the vice chairman of the House Armed Services Committee. He was a congressman, and he uncovered a plot that they're going to set explosions in 10 cities. Valdez, Alaska, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Boston, New York City, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Chicago, Miami, and Houston. And then Ted Gunderson was over here. We were preparing his talk, and he began to tell me this, and I said, oh, really? I said, well, I had a dream that there's going to, matter of fact, 2 dreams, there's going to be a series of explosions all across America. And one of them will be at a regional bank. It'll take out all of the records and all of the backups, irregardless of who actually planted the explosives or who they blame it on. The people behind it will be international bankers, and it will put billions of dollars into the pockets of the international bankers while throwing America into a financial tailspin. And, of course, we didn't understand how that could happen. I've said all of this many times. I'll say it again. Until Katrina. After Katrina, the floodwaters receded. Then they went to the bank, and the people of the area, and they said, look, we had some money in the bank. We'd like to have our money. The bank said, well, we lost all of our records in the flood. But if you can prove you have the money in the bank, we're happy to give it to you. And, of course, the people had to say, well, look, we lost all of our records and our money in the flood, and so we'd like to have some money back. And they said, well, if you can't prove you have the money in here, then we can't give it to you. And just like that, they swept passbook, checking accounts, savings accounts, 401k. They swept millions of dollars from the area right into their hip pocket. And I think that's where they hatched the idea for more of the same. In other words, they hatched the idea for a national situation of explosions going off. Then Michael Boldea was shown a vision of lights flashing off and on in the following states: California, Illinois, Michigan, Arizona, Washington State, Florida, and New York. And I asked him on the radio program, do you think those were Hiroshima-sized bombs, or did that look more like a suitcase nuclear bomb? And he said it looked more like a suitcase nuclear bomb. Then another guest speaker we had on said he saw like suitcase nuclear explosions going off in New York, Washington, D.C., Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Phoenix. Then, just last month, we had Doug Metzger make a brand new DVD, which, by the way, is selling like hotcakes. I recommend you call in and get you a copy, called Will You Survive America's Fall? And Doug Metzger saw 12 cities in which suitcase nuclear type bombs exploded. Those cities were Los Angeles, Las Vegas, New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, Orlando, Denver, Seattle, San Francisco. Now, many of those confirm each other. So again, we're saying we have 4 people that can say we are heading to a series of explosions. Now, that might be the catastrophe, or it might be some kind of like a New Madrid fault splitting America, chunks of California falling into the ocean. Augusto Perez saw a tsunami hit the East Coast and go 25 miles in. Prophet Leslie saw a tsunami hit one of the coasts. She didn't know if it was the East or the West Coast, but she saw that it was 200 foot tall. A 200-foot tall tsunami. That's a whopper, okay? In other words, there is potential of 2 great catastrophes hitting America. So we don't know exactly which ones it will be. However, you remember that Shane Warren was told that he saw the New Madrid fault, and then he heard a voice speak from behind him and say, "They parted my land, now I will part their land." So it makes me believe that apparently when America forces Israel to split their land and give the Palestinians a state, that is when God will split our land. Now, I've got a couple of verses for you. In case you're wondering, will Israel ever be rooted out of their land at Armageddon or World War III? The answer is absolutely positively not. Amos 9:15 says, "And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled up out of their land, which I have given them, saith the Lord God." Now, if you're wondering if the Palestinians will be given a state, I can answer that question. Israel will be divided. Zechariah 14:1 says, "Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee." There is another scripture, I think it's like Joel 2:3, that also says Israel will be divided. Then Zechariah 12:3 is talking about how all the world is going to be gathered against Israel. In case you wonder if Israel is ever going to lose another military battle, listen to this. Zechariah 12:3, "And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered against it." In other words, even if every heart beating on the globe were to attack Israel, God is going to see that Israel will, A, never be rooted out of their land again, but the land will be parted. I talked to you about that. But they will never lose another battle. They will never lose another military victory. Though all the world gathers against them, Armageddon will destroy the armies of the world, and Israel will remain standing. Matter of fact, at Armageddon, basically what happens, see, Armageddon is not a flesh-to-flesh battle, okay? It is, yes, the world, all the rest of the world coming down to attack the remaining believers that live in Israel. So it's flesh to flesh, but It is spirit to flesh that destroys it, because that's when Jesus returns as the bright and morning star, blows his glory down on the earth, and just in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, when his glory hits the earth, and it covers the earth as waters cover the sea, it goes all the way to the center of the earth, it sets the foundations of the mountains on fire. Psalm says the hills melt like wax at the presence of the Lord. Malachi 4:3 says those people that fight against Israel will fall to the ground in a pile of ashes and bones. There'll be ashes under the soles of our feet. Zechariah 12:4 says that their skin will consume off of their bones. The eyes consume out of the eye sockets. The tongue consumes out of the mouth. All of this happens before the soldier can even hit the ground. Now, I know that sounds nuclear, but that's not nuclear. That is the glory of Jesus, the light of the world. We'll be right back after this message. The Prophecy Club has 2 speakers in March. Some of you know each Hebrew letter represents a picture, sound, and color. But what you probably don't know is it also contains a code which unseals the prophecies of Daniel. David Matthews has been teaching letter-level Hebrew for 12 years, and he's going to show you the code which unseals Daniel and how it's tied to prophecies of the future and unseals the rest of the Bible. He'll speak on Hebrew, the rainbow language, Friday, March the 8th. Then, Stephen Hansen was called to be a prophet in 1975, has given over 1,200 amazing national prophecies by either vision or audible voice. Stephen will tell us what God has shown him concerning fires in New York City, the invasion of America, 2013 in prophecy, the New Madrid fault line, and Texas separated and parts underwater. Stephen Hansen will speak on divisions leading to the internal revolution Saturday, March the 9th. And David Matthews will speak on Hebrew, the rainbow language, Friday, March the 8th. So that's David Matthews on Hebrew, the rainbow language, Friday, March the 8th, and Stephen Hansen on divisions leading to the internal revolution, Saturday, March the 9th. That's at the Prophecy Club, 2540 Avenue K in Plano, on the corner of Park and K behind the Whataburger. Gift of $10 at the door. Doors open at 6, speaking from 7 to 10:30. Stephen will also be given personal prophecies Sunday, March the 10th at the Spirit of Prophecy Church, same location, 9:30 to noon. For more information, go to prophecyclub.com. And now, back to the program. That is the glory of Jesus, the light of the world, the light of life hitting the earth. That is Armageddon. And that's what Obama and all of his other, let me say this correctly here, communist Muslim allies are working to try to destroy God and his people. And rest assured, that's the heart of Obama. That's the heart of the world government that is trying to defeat anything that has God's name on it. And they are not going to be successful. Back to you, Pastor Dan.
Something on the timing of that may help you and all that. Part of Hagel's plan that seems to have found its way into Obama's plan says that they can envision a 5-year renewable mandate with the objective of achieving a full Palestinian state within 15 years. So, it's not something they're claiming to happen overnight.
Well, you remember that Bush said November the 27th of 2007 that they would have a Palestinian state before the end of the year, which, of course, did not happen. But nevertheless, they were certainly working on it. And Obama wouldn't be the first president to try to work on it. There's been several of them. I mean, going back to Jimmy Carter tried to. It all has to happen in God's timing.
A new feature story in this month's Wired blows the lid off plans for a massive new National Security Agency data center in Utah that represents the resurrection of a program that Congress killed in 2003, known as the Total Information Awareness, targeting literally all electronic communications all over the world, including those made by American citizens. The proposal was to build computing systems that would suck up every electronic communication on the planet and filter them through a smart supercomputer that would flag certain conversations, emails, transactions, and other items of interest for further review. The NSA's new data center in Utah will be the most all-encompassing spy machine ever conceived, and it can really record every email, every encryption, every phone call anywhere in the world. These three covert sources who work for the NSA reportedly claim that the agency is dumping American communications into the mix, now violating the U.S. Constitution in pursuit of a modern-day Manhattan Project.
Okay, well, Dan, where we're really heading here is to a world-controlled system. Now, as I've said many times, Revelation 13, 15, 16, 17 is talking about a time when no one, small or great, rich or poor, free or bond, is going to buy or sell anything on the globe unless you have that mark. Now, whatever it is, for right now, it could be a postage stamp, but you got to have it, all right? Now, in order for them to make this system work, they have to be able to track every purchase on the globe. And I believe the most logical system, the most obvious system for that would be the internet. Now, we just had Maurice Sklar speak back in October. He made a DVD, an awesome DVD you got to get. It's called Revelations for the Midnight Hour. And in that, he told about how he saw a vision of the internet begin to turn to be a very dark and oppressive system that is eventually going to be the mark of the beast system. In other words, a system to where you can't buy or sell unless you can tie into that system. And, of course, in other articles that Dan and I have got, we've seen how they're talking about monitoring and controlling every part of the internet. Well, right here what we're talking about is the data center to where they can do that. Now, we have long known that every phone call is tracked and monitored in America, and probably outside of America too, but for sure. I mean, if it flies through the air, if it goes through a copper wire or a fiber optic, then it is monitored. And I've talked about that in several different ways where we've been able to prove that, okay? We know that they are listening to everything. As a matter of fact, I can say something else. You see all of that closed captioning on TV, you know that cost to have put on TV? I do not think that they are really concerned about blind people or people that can't hear, and that's the reason they're putting this closed captioning on there. I think it makes it a little easier for them to track and monitor everything on every TV channel all the time. I mean, everything. It's all stored, and that's what they're talking about, is making this underground Utah base. And by the way, they have other underground bases that store all of this. It used to be in Langley, and they're moving away from the coast. And I think that they know some things are coming. Just like, why is the U.S. government buying up now assault rifles with large magazine capabilities, and yet that they want to take our assault rifles? Why is it that the U.S. government is buying up millions of rounds of hollow point ammunition while they're trying to get the guns out of our hands? And by the way, there was another article today why you can go to Beyonce. I'm not even going to say what I think of her. They might take me off the radio if I tell you what I think of her. So I'm not even going to say, but it's low thoughts. Okay, low. It's on the low. But anyway, you can go to a Beyonce concert if you turn in your gun. They're starting gun buyback programs all across America. That's right. They will pay you $100 to turn in your assault weapon. Never mind, some of the assault weapons cost anywhere from $900 to $1,500. And some people are actually turning them in. Boy, I guess people like that deserve what they're going to get. But the problem is most of us don't deserve what we're going to get. And all of this has come upon us because our God is not among us. Back to the point. Yes, what we're doing is coming to a society that will be totally controlled. You remember what Lindsey Williams says. He said, the name of the game is control. The ruling elite want control. And I've asked people, okay, so why do they want control? Oh, they want the money. Okay, why do they want the money? Well, because they want the control. No. Okay, why do they want the money? Why do they want the control? Because they want to force every people on the globe. Either you take the mark or you lose your head. They want to find out. They're going to try to make every person either serve their God or lose your head. That's where it is. Now, it's many years away. I think probably 15 to 30 years away before that arrives. However, we're seeing a lot of things heading that direction right now, just like the Pope. This next Pope, as we watch this happen over the next 20 or 30 days, if this guy takes the name Petrus Romanus or Peter the Roman, then there's not going to be any question that he is the false prophet.
First, a small question. Would the Pope have to pick one of those names to be the false prophet?
Some people say he probably won't have to pick that particular name in order to be the false prophet, but I don't know. We don't have but some 20 or 30 days to find out, so we will see. I personally suspect he will choose that name. It doesn't make any difference to him what somebody else prophesied or what somebody might think about him. Matter of fact, I also think that the vision that David Phillips had about him is probably accurate and from God, and he'll probably be in his 30s or 40s and have dark hair and be big and heavy type guy and really speak out harshly against the Protestants and basically tell the Catholics that they need to start killing the Protestants. Now, it doesn't make sense to me that he would start off immediately with that. It may even be several years, maybe even 5 or 10 years before he gets around to that, but I think that that is eventually coming, yes.
Talking about guns, former Governor Sarah Palin said the other day that the federal government is buying up all the ammunition to be used against the American citizens when the economy crashes that they know is coming.
Yep. Well, how do they know that? Do they have a time machine? Some people say they do. Do they listen to the prophets? Well, maybe they do. Or they're going to cause one. And I think it's probably maybe all three, but for sure the third one.
A potentially explosive report has linked the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI to the discovery of a network of gay prelates in the Vatican, some of whom the report said were being blackmailed by outsiders. The Pope spokesman declined to confirm or deny the report. The paper said the Pope had taken the decision on 17th December that he was going to resign the day he received a dossier compiled by 3 cardinals delegated to look into the so-called Vatican leak affair. According to a law Republican, the dossier, comprising 2 volumes of almost 300 pages, bound in red, has been designed to be delivered to the Pope's successor upon his election. Some people think that due to this report is why he resigned.
Well, of course, we don't know why he resigned, but his resignation, I think, is the most important prophecy to be fulfilled since probably Israel became a nation in 1948. I mean, that's really big. And again, as I said, if this guy takes the name Petrus Romanus or Peter the Roman, then there's no question he's the false prophet when a guy's got 111 out of 112 prophecies spanning almost 1,000 years. It may not be in the Bible, but you got to say that was God, and you got to say this guy's the false prophet.
Higgs boson researchers an alternate universe will appear, expand, and destroy ours. If confirmed, the discovery of the elusive Higgs boson could help resolve a key puzzle about the universe and how it came into existence some 13.7 billion years ago, and perhaps its ultimate fate. It may be that the universe we live in is inherently unstable, and at some point, billions of years from now, it's going to get wiped out. A little bubble of what you might think is an alternate universe will appear somewhere, and then it will expand out and destroy us at the speed of light.
Okay, in case you're not familiar with what he's talking about the CERN, or the Large Hadron Collider, that is a 17-mile circle underneath France and Switzerland, in which they are trying to get they speed up these plasma particles going in opposite directions at just under the speed of light, and then they cause them to collide, hence the word collider. And they're trying to find the Higgs boson, or the moment of creation, or the God particle. I don't believe it. I think what they're really doing is trying to make a stargate or a wormhole, whatever name you want to go by, because Revelation says that the beast will ascend out of the bottomless pit. We also know that there's all kinds of these locusts that come out of the earth. Well, are they coming out of a crack out of the earth, as I had always imagined? Or maybe, just maybe, could it be this Higgs boson? Could it be this circle, this 17-mile circle that is actually causes an open window into the spirit realm and allows these locusts and these demonic things to enter the world? We also know that there's 2 demons that are held up in the river Euphrates. So there are places where these demons, of course, we also know that the devil, he's locked up for 1,000 years and then he's loosed for a little season. So it could be that what this Large Hadron Collider really is something to unlock a door to another spiritual demonic world, allowing these demons into our world. Now, let me just say, brothers and sisters, I know that you hear a lot of really scary stuff at the Prophecy Club. You do not have to be scared of the world. Instead, we do not fear him that can destroy the body. We fear him that can destroy the body and soul in hellfire. You see, this is not our home. We're just passing through. This whole life is but a vapor. What we're trying to do is to reserve our place in eternity to be with Jesus. But what we have to do, if we want to be spared from the pain, if we want to not have to deny Jesus, then what we have to do now is stop sinning, repent, turn to Jesus with your whole heart, build a prayer closet, get the spots and wrinkles off, be in the will of God, and then he'll take care of you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers. And especially, yes, right now, we do need your gifts of support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. The Prophecy Club has 2 speakers in March. Some of you know each Hebrew letter represents a picture, sound, and color. But what you probably don't know is it also contains a code which unseals the prophecies of Daniel. David Matthews has been teaching letter-level Hebrew for 12 years, and he's going to show you the code which unseals Daniel and how it's tied to prophecies of the future and unseals the rest of the Bible. He'll speak on Hebrew, the rainbow language, Friday, March the 8th. Then, Stephen Hansen was called to be a prophet in 1975, has given over 1,200 amazing national prophecies by either vision or audible voice. Stephen will tell us what God has shown him concerning fires in New York City, the invasion of America, 2013 in prophecy, the New Madrid fault line, and Texas separated and parts underwater. Stephen Hansen will speak on the visions leading to the internal revolution Saturday, March the 9th. And David Matthews will speak on Hebrew, the rainbow language, Friday, March the 8th. So that's David Matthews on Hebrew, the rainbow language, Friday, March the 8th, and Stephen Hansen on divisions leading to the internal revolution, Saturday, March the 9th. That's at the Prophecy Club, 2540 Avenue K in Plano, on the corner of Park and K behind the Whataburger. Gift of $10 at the door. Doors open at 6, speaking from 7 to 10:30. Stephen will also be given personal prophecies Sunday, March the 10th at the Spirit of Prophecy Church, same location, 9:30 to noon. For more information, go to prophecyclub.com. The February gift offer is Angels at Work. Prophet Leslie tells of many examples in her life in which the Lord set forth his angels to bring back lost items, keep her loved ones out of harm's way, and comforted her in difficult times and directed her footsteps. You will learn how to call on ministering spirits in time of need, be uplifted, encouraged, and build your faith. In True or False Prophecies, also by Prophet Leslie, she helps you to recognize the lies and false information that can lead you away from the truth. Topics are: recognize a true or false prophecy or prophet, receive the best blessings, receive a double blessing, recognize the anointing for the spirit of prophecy. Then, Will You Survive America's Fall by Doug Metzger is talking about how he had a very radical salvation and God began to immediately give him visions. He shares 16 visions of America's future, and he was shown how unspeakable torment is coming to America to turn us back to God. Topics are: America the Fallen Tree, vision of how the church was formed, vision of a nuclear missile, 12 cities destroyed, a million voices screaming, 2 explosions, 10-to-1 inflation, dollar becomes worthless, the begging woman and the turnstile, the great betrayal, only prayer is protection, and the greatest horror and revival at the same time. Angels at Work, $20. True or False Prophecies, $30. Will You Survive America's Fall, $30. 3 DVDs valued at $80 for a gift of just $45. It's the February gift offer, available at prophecyclub.com or calling 785-266-1112.